you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep. See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep. See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while
I know cats that got scratched, but don't call on no dogs that's outlaws. They get it in like losses and count wins. I trust none, watch enemies and friends. I'm on some other shit, strict grind hustling, working pavement for the payment, a 9 to 5. Now that's sorta like enslavement. And they wonder why these little kids be doing crime. It's genocide, they bigger brothers do a time. I see the signs in the streets like the roadside. Future hanging on the pen like a clothesline. Baby mama got my son in the county line. Curb high be the money that I'm making. So low to the block that I'm scraping. Cause whatever that I get, I gotta take it. I'm so low to the block that I'm scraping.
See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep. See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep. See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you
These
sleep.
alleys and side streets, find me on that late night hype creep. You know me, cause I'm side street kid, the avenue kid, the revenue getter, the boulevard money flipper. Plus I was raised for hustlers, man. I don't know how to do nothing else but barter and trade. So I get it for self, can't rely on nobody else. Deprived of sleep, I ride and creep. Go ahead and try me, I got mouths to feed. I can't wrestle or hustle relentless. Up all night till the lights of dawn. And I'm at it again soon as the street lights come on. That's routine, get it on the regular. From grand measurer to small time dope peddler. Whatever to get it, scrape the block like a muffler. Get it? I'm a dedicated street hustler.
See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep. See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep. See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep.
Cause you know it's a money game. Another day, another dollar, another problem. Probably lose my life over some loose change. A supply proof and shoot cause I'm ruthless. For loose change, I'm loose with the shoot game. Push product and recoup change. That's the code, get it in, get it gone. I cross streets in my work clothes. Used to bust up like a workbench. And traffic cops are just screwdrivers. For task force, it's a monkey wrench. They hit the block with the jump unit. I get low, staying under the influence. Scrape for cash flow, break the revenue. King of the avenue, kid. You never know what I be going through. It's like I'm addicted to money coming in all night. Getting money from street hustling.
See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep. See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep. See, I gotta scrape the block, hustling while you sleep at night. I know that you never see me creep. But I hustle while you sleep, while you sleep.
Go nuts, king of the party, make the scene go up. Why y'all the bartender, drinks pouring up. I've been doing this since a kid growing up. Baby, what's up? Let's roll something up. Baby, did you come to party or what? Bring your tipsy, get all the way drunk. Call us a Uber and go where we want. Let's go where we want. Go where we want. We can club out, go out and just up. Have us a friend, baby, no need to front. We can do anything, we can do what we want.
Let's make one thing clear. If you ain't from the party, why the fuck you here?
Hey, these
is nuts in here. There's some bad ones up in here. You ain't come to party, why the fuck you here? Hold up.
Focus on eat this, please, nigga, hold up. Keep my pocket stuffed with the cheese. Hold up. What you got, wax, nigga, weed, nigga, hold up. Guzzling, drink, got the drink till we hoe up. What you got, beef, if it's beef, nigga, show up. Like a mirror laying in the street, nigga, show up. Party again in the club with your bitch, hoe up. It don't matter what they get, always hoe up. Nigga, get the picture, nigga, get it in focus. I ain't worried about a hater, I ain't even noticed it. Side street kid, in case you didn't know this, baby, I'm the apple, you should already know this.
Let's make one thing clear. If you ain't come to party, why the fuck you here? Hey, these girls is nuts in here. There's some bad ones up in here. If you ain't come to party, why the fuck you here? Hold up.
I just want you all to myself. Is it wrong to write these songs inspired by Venetian poems underneath the Martian sun? Like purple violets, like the skylight, riding comets through the sky. Come with me on this funky ride. Don't pack no bags, won't need a thing, and we don't pay no baggage fees. We traveling like you're like me, like
tonight on a spaceship ride somewhere past the moon. I'll show you my alien side. We wanna go tonight on a spaceship ride somewhere past the moon. I'll show you my alien side.
Let's travel like through space and time, let time unravel in our minds like ribbons waving in the sky. The beauties beheld in my eye. Listen, hear the angels sing, they serenade your very beam. I love this king, I crown you queen. I propose to you with Saturn rings. Would you come and go with me? I'll take you to my galaxy. Don't pack no bags, won't need a thing, and we don't pay no baggage fees. We traveling like you're like me.
Like tonight on a spaceship ride somewhere past the moon. I'll show you my alien side. We wanna go tonight on a spaceship ride somewhere past the moon. I'll show you my alien side.
Why don't we just go away? I'll take you to another place. Baby, we can cruise the stars. You've ever been to outer space? Like an outer body experience. My body and spirit all sharing this new experience. Don't you wanna go with me? Fly through space beyond light speed. Let your hair blow in the solar breeze. Don't pack no bags, won't need a thing. I promise this is not a drink. We traveling like you're like beings.
Tonight on a spaceship ride somewhere past the moon.
Yo, what's happening? Stink new side street kid. I am the effing, and I'm up in here. Give a shout out to everybody out there checking in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the broadcast, everything. You know what I mean? Comment, jump in the comments. You know, all of that good stuff. Tonight, what we have is a pretty special guest, you know what I mean? As always, I don't like to really go super in depth into like the backgrounds of the guest and stuff like that, because, you know, I like to leave room for them to speak for themselves. You know what I mean? Tell it themselves. It's always more interesting that way. at least in my opinion. So basically, I'll just give a brief background. Tonight, I have Nic Maye coming on. Nic Maye, for those who may not know, um, is actually a film producer. Um, he's also my cousin, family member. You know what I mean? Of course, so I had quick access to this interview. But but yeah, he's a family member. He's a movie producer. He got his first film, which I believe is his first film. Like I said, I don't like to give too much of a background, especially with him being my cousin. It's probably a lot of stuff that I personally maybe have missed or might not, um, might forget to mention or something like that. So, you know, I'm gonna just leave it at that. It's gonna be a great interview. Um, I'm trying to see right now. Okay, if I can get them up on the line real quick, and we're just gonna chop it up, man, about films, making films, how to get into it, how did he get into it, where did the idea come from, and you know the types of stuff he may have had to go through to uh, to make it happen. You know what I mean? Um, and maybe somehow in there we can find some way to inspire maybe, you know, a younger generation of people that or filmmakers or people that's aspiring to get into it to keep going or give them some sort of insight, something. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where we at with it. Let's see if we can get them up in here real quick.
Yo,
Yo,
yo. What up,
Nick,
though?
what's poppin'?
What's good?
Man, cooling, man. I'm about to try and bring you on live right now. Get you set up real quick. Boom. And we up in there. All right, say something else. Make sure we.
Something else.
Yeah, I think we got you. I think we in there live. So what's happening, man? Long time no talk to.
Man, I can't call it how you, bro.
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Yeah, definitely, man. So what's been
Still
up?
bucking like 5 deuce for tray. I love that hoodie. I gotta give me one.
Yeah, still bucking like 5 deuce 4 trade.
Gotta give me one.
Yeah, man. Backbone makes these. I got this from him a couple weeks ago. So I'll be trying
Word.
yeah, I'll be trying to show my support. You know what I mean? Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yes.
Growing
Sir.
the dreads back out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Got the naughty. Yes,
That's
sir.
what's up, man.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, I'm glad I was able to get you to come on, man. I just wanted to be able to chop it up with you a little bit about the film and filmmaking, and basically let me give you a rundown of what the show is about.
Okay.
All right, so the show is called Think New, and it's basically meant to give people more of an insider look into like what's really going on behind the scenes. How do you really get into industries, or just things that the common person may not know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the kind of work it takes to get into it, or what kind of steps you may have taken to do something, or just the other angle is instead of just always about entertainment and the like the final product. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Didn't you have a track called Think New back in the day?
nah, it come from my it was my showcase. I had a show I used to do called Think New. So I just turned it into the podcast.
Got you. I knew it was. I was like, damn, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, yep.
Got you.
That's what's up. So yeah, man, I just wanted to get you on here so we could chop it up about the role you played in with the film and everything like that.
For sure. So I have a production company with few of my friends and my partners, Trayvon Free, Van Lathan, and Samir Hernandez, called 6 Feet Over Productions. It's a double entendre. One, because we all black men over 6 feet. Me being the shortest is 6'2", 6'3", and also because we all over 25. And usually, what they say about black men over 25 is you 6 feet under. And so we wanted to flip that narrative. So we formulated this production company. It was at first was just a trio. It was Van, myself, and Trayvon. And Trayvon we're trying to figure out kind of what our first project would be collectively. We'd all work together separately. Van and myself on the Red Pill podcast. But I'm trying to figure out what our first project would be. We wanted to mean something and just be dope. And so Trayvon had been talking to, his co-director, Martin Desmond Rowe, who's amazing, just in general about, kind of the idea of the movie, Two Distant Strangers, but didn't really know what it was. Shortly after George Floyd was murdered, and I say murdered because he just died.
Right.
We were at Trayvon's house or Lawrence Bender's house in Bel Air, and I'm only saying where we were because I think it's crazy that three big black ass men could be sitting in Bel Air while all this is going on with George Floyd. And so I had a little guilt about it, feeling bad, like damn, like we're over here in Bel Air chilling, and the world is being crazy right now.
And just to clarify, because I've actually had people here in Atlanta tell me that they didn't know that Bel Air was a real place. They thought it was something made up for the Fresh Prince.
Nah, man, Bel Air is it's a real place. It's a very real place. It's not. I mean, it's like a big ass neighborhood where rich people live. I don't live there, so I don't want to get that message out to anybody. Right. But no, Lawrence Bender was a very accomplished film producer. He produced Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction and a lot of Quentin Tarantino's early pictures. He resides there, and so it's not a situation we were just at the crib. We just happened to be at Lawrence's house. That's where Trayvon was staying at the time, and so it was just us three and the dog in the backyard. And as black men, we started feeling like the type of way and just having this conversation about how all this is making us feel and our emotions. And that's not a typical conversation black men just openly have. But it was so emotional at the time because it was literally like 2 days after George Floyd had been murdered. And all of us are three very outspoken individuals. And we just started having a discussion about, what was happening, how we were feeling about it. And, so many emotions, from being scared to being angry to being disappointed and sad and hurt and fearful and just a plethora of things. Grateful to be alive and that it wasn't us, and guilt and just whatever. Any emotion you could experience, we experienced in that conversation. So shortly after, we had this company group text, me, Trayvon, and Van. And Trayvon, he sends a script over that he wrote, based on what was going on and, our conversation about emotions. And we ended up, I ended up reading it right away. I mean, it just caught me at a time. Everybody who knows me knows I'm not really a sleeper. So if you need me to read or look at something, I mean, people usually just hit me at night with it. And I was like, let me just take a look at it. I didn't intend on reading the whole thing. But I was like, oh, it's only, 28, 30 pages. I'll knock it out in like 10 minutes. I knocked it out in like 8 minutes. That's how great it was. And I just flew through it. And I'm like, man, yo, Trey, this is amazing. This is exactly how I feel.
And you said this was days after the conversation he had the script written.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. I mean, we're talking about maybe within 2 weeks. He wrote it in 5 days. So he just put his emotions on the paper. You know what I mean? And from there, I think Dan shared the same sentiments as I did. And usually this is every way you make a movie, we did the exact opposite. This is not how movies get made. They don't just happen like that. They don't, you don't get funding that easily. You don't, it's just not very easy to do. And so, typically, even if a script was loved by everybody, and say you shot an indie style, you would go into fundraising. That shit would take months or, a year or so maybe, just to even lock down funding. This is June of last year.
Right.
By the time we got the final draft, it was in July. By the time he narrowed it down to exactly what he wanted to say, we were going through casting options and because I told him, as well as a few other people, Jesse Williams and Van and Martin, like, dude, fuck waiting. Like, let's put this shit out now. It's how we feel, and it's the messaging is just, it's. I don't think it gets any better because we didn't want to just show what was happening. It was we got to make them feel what we're feeling while this is happening, and so we instantly going and like, bro, let's just raise the money. We were talking to a few streamers and stuff early on before shooting, and nobody really does shorts, right? Like, most people make a short, put this shit out on, maybe a small indie theater run and YouTube and shit. You might send it to the homie or whatever.
Yeah.
It's about as much love as shorts get. It's a few festivals. So most streamers and most platforms at the time, theaters ain't open. It's middle of the pandemic. It's the peak of the pandemic.
Right.
And nobody knew, what would be, what to do with it. And so,
and nobody at this point had actually shot a movie before, right?
no, we had all shot projects and things of that nature. I mean, Trayvon has 2 Emmys. He wrote The Daily Show.
Okay.
Martin was nominated a few years ago for a short film that he directed. So we all had experience, but nobody had shot anything in the pandemic. Right. During the pandemic, we were still on hold, so we wanted to shoot in August. We had to raise money. So basically, no studios or anybody knew what to do. So we were like, dude, fuck it, we'll just raise the money and shoot it ourselves. And man, we get on the phone and we start making calls and we're talking to everybody we can, and people are pulling favors, and fortunately, we're blessed enough to get some of the money, and then we end up. Martin and Trayvon's like, fuck it, we'll just start it ASAP. So we needed to get SAG accreditation, right? We wanted to be legitimized, and I that process is so long, right? It's even longer if in the pandemic where they ain't at the office every day, and and whatnot. And so I hit the homegirl Tiffany, who was at SAG at the time, and I'm like, yo, look, I need you to push this paperwork to whoever need to see this shit so that we can get started. At the time, production wasn't even being allowed in California, right? So it looks like it's a New York themed movie. We shot this in California. At the time, production wasn't open, and you know, we knew it was gonna be a window we can get in, but we also all anticipated, man, this shit gonna end up shutting right back down because niggas ain't gonna do what they need to do to be protected and etc.
Right.
And so,
because it was a big deal at first with the mask
yeah.
enforcement and stuff like that.
Yeah. And LA was shut down. It wasn't like, you know, Georgia or Florida where it's like, you know, mask on. It was like, nah, you don't got your mask, or like you getting fines, you getting pulled over, whatever. And so
they was pulling people over.
Yeah, man. Like if you were walking down the street without your mask, they stop you. Like they was not bullshit. Yeah, and so and this is at the peak of the protests and everything that's going on. So they just weren't taking no names. They was kicking ass. And anyway, Tiffany helps facilitate that and get it taken care of. And you know, from there, we go into production, right? So we shoot like first week of September. We got 5 days. They cut the days down. The days is like 10-hour days instead of 12. You know, we don't really get rehearsal time. It's a few stunts in the movie, so.
And did y'all have to use a limited crew as well?
Yeah, man, skeleton crew basically. And we had to have on-site like COVID testing. We had to have like on-site people there to make sure we were following COVID protocol. Window's very small. There ain't no room for error. And so, yeah, we couldn't have, it's not a regular production. Everybody, it's new to everybody. Nobody shot yet. Like, it's just absolutely new to everybody. So even when you're used to having a bunch of PAs running around to where they can go grab stuff for you and whatever, you know, it wasn't a thing. Like, you know, we only had maybe 1 or 2 PAs for the whole movie, and yeah. So anyway, we shoot the movie. We were on a deadline. The deadline was not actually for the Academy; it's for Sundance. It was like October 28th or, you know, mid-November or some shit like that. And we submitted. You know what I'm saying? We submitted to Sundance. But the real goal, obviously, was, we're going to submit to the Academy. We want the world to see this movie. And so we qualified to submit to the Academy. We submitted to them December 2nd, which was the deadline. So you talking about a window of, we shot this shit in September. We had maybe a month to edit and fine-tune and add whatever we was going to add, effects and sound. And then we had to have that shit off. As soon as we submit to the Academy, maybe a day or 2 later, we get rejected from motherfucking Sundance, which is not a good sign. Yeah, we were like, oh, shit. Like, if we didn't get into that shit, it ain't no way we gonna, you know, get into Academy. And we ended up making what's called the long list. So out of 193 films, I believe it was, we make that list. So out of all the short films that was made last year, we make it to the top 193, which is great, right? There's over 1,000 films made. So once we got long list, we're like, okay, now we got some traction. You know, we got to just do a better job of getting it out, right? Ain't no theaters open. We don't have a streamer who's picked it up, so it was all word of mouth.
Now let's backtrack just a little bit. You said that there was a process in order to be accepted into the Academy, right? What's the criteria for that?
So is absolutely not what we had to do, right? We had to do it different because of COVID. The process is usually being doing a theatrical run, I believe, Monday, or you do a theatrical run for 7 consecutive days, 3 times a day. So morning, afternoon, and evening. For 7 consecutive days in a major city. The major cities were like Atlanta, New York, and LA, and Chicago, I believe. Problem was, none of the fucking theaters were open in none of these places. Not even Atlanta at the time.
Right.
And so, because you couldn't do it that way, you had to show intent to distribute that way, or you had to be on an on-demand platform where people can order your movie on demand and watch it, and it kind of works that way. Or you had to win a qualifying festival. So, like, we would have to have won Sundance to automatically qualify to be nominated. So we did the intent route, right? We had intended to show it in theaters at, I think, LaMelle, or I'm not quite sure which theater we were going to do it at, but yeah. So anyway, we go through that process. We get what's called long listed, so that means you make like the top 193, and from there we're like, okay, we gotta call in some more favors and get people to talk. It's literally word of mouth. It's like how you would trap out the trunk and pass out your CDs. This is like what we're doing at the movie. Like, we have one streamer link, and we like, yo, can you help us set this up so that people can basically watch this shit on Zoom? And so we do a Zoom, and like our very first Zoom was like with fucking I think it's the most lit premiere, I mean, I guess you would call it ever. It was like CC Sabathia and his wife Amber, and then Chris fucking Rock was on there.
What?
Yeah, like Charlamagne the God, Anthony Mackie, Lakeith Stanfield. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot of those names, right?
Yeah.
And these are all like friends of somebody who contributed to the film. And the reason we did that one first is because we want these people to keep it real with us. And so we wanted to get a real take on, what was actually happening, and how people would really feel, because they're artists and they know how to keep it real and say, yeah, this shit was hard to watch or it wasn't. And so we got really good feedback from it, and we started doing these small pop-up Zoom screenings, right? To just get the word out. We would do it for everybody. Everybody's a regular person. We would do it for people who weren't entertainers. We would do it for entertainers. We did one for the NAACP in Cleveland. That was set up by Patrice Cullors. We did one with, not Patrice Cullors, Patrice Horton. We did one with Shawnee O'Neal. Like, we was doing whatever needed to be done to run this grassroots ass campaign. And we ended up getting shortlisted. Now, shortlisted is when they take that 193 and cut the list all the way down to 10, right? So once you get shortlisted, now it's a real thing. Like, you making traction on all the shorts, you made the top 10. This is when the real work starts, and you got people who want to interview you. Excuse me, and want to have the discussion around the movie, and you get a little press, and it becomes a very real thing. And so we end up getting shortlisted. We're going through that whole process, and we even like nervous, right? We like trying to check out the other shorts, like, let me see what this shit talking about, so I can see, all right, how we stack up. You know what I mean? And so we watching everything, man. It was all respectable films, you know, in their own right. But you know, we won. Shit. And so you know, we go from there. We end up getting nominated. We get nominated on the anniversary of my pop's passing.
Wow.
I'll never forget March 15th, 2021. He passed 5 years prior to March 15th, 2016. You know that obviously because your uncle.
Yeah.
But
And I saw the post on Facebook when you put it up. I was like, wow, like that was just crazy.
Yeah, man. So 5 years, you know, later, it's already a tough date for me. And you know, we get nominated, and so I'm just like shit, freaking out. I'm watching it with my crew via Zoom, and I heard it, but it didn't click until Ava calls me and says, "Yo, you know, he got nominated." And then two of her films get nominated like right after. So that was just a cool moment, you know what I'm saying? Like for somebody I look up to, obviously my sister, to get to see me enjoy that moment on that day.
Right.
We both enjoy that moment.
I don't think we clarified that. And by the way, y'all make sure y'all like, subscribe, share the video. I know we not sitting out here in a world full of haters, so y'all make sure y'all click like on that video and share it. But I don't think we mentioned that either. So Ava DuVernay is who you're speaking of. That's your sister. She's also a filmmaker. So she had sort of like a hotline, I guess, that rang when y'all got nominated, right? Like,
nah, she was watching just like
she was just watching and saw it.
Yeah, so it's so weird because they do this shit. So for this to be centered around Hollywood, right? Everything is East Coast time, so it's 8 a.m. for the East Coast. It's 5 some shit here, 5 or some change. So niggas got to get up early, like wake up at, you know, 4:30, 4:45, set your alarm, and then you watching just until something happens. And so yeah, we're all watching. She's watching. She has projects that are up to be nominated, and pretty much all Hollywood is up at 5 a.m. on this particular day. And yeah, she saw it just like me, and I saw it, and I'm freaking out. I recorded my own reaction because I was like, yeah, I want to capture this moment. I reacted, but I also still it didn't click.
Yeah.
Until she called and was just like, yo, like, dude, y'all nominated. And so that was March 15th. And what day is this on? Today is May 12th, right? So we're talking like two months ago. It ain't even been 2 months, right?
Right.
And this is where the process is long, right? So you got March 15th. That's when we found out. The Oscars ain't till April 25th, right? It's April 25th. And they do the voting process. I think it was like April 15th through the 20th. So it's a month away, and it's a month and a week away from, you know, the day you find out. And yeah, we at the time
so that whole time just a waiting period,
yeah,
not knowing.
Yeah, it's a waiting period. You doing more interviews, and you essentially doing the same thing over and over and over. And so, by the way, when you get nominated, it's 5, so you make it to the top 5. And you know, that's a win in itself. But it had never been a black man who's won this category, black person who's won this category either.
Wow, so I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it was one. The first one nominated was Mr. Massey. Happened to be the father of the girl at work at SAG, who helped push the paperwork through.
Originally, that you called that.
Yeah, who helped
Oh, that's
help us line up all of
crazy.
our
He was the
paperwork to
first.
be
Her
legit.
father was the first
Her
nominated in the
father was
category.
the first African American nominated in this category.
Wow.
And that was like 30 years ago. You know what I mean? And so it ends up, what ends up happening is, you got that month run, and now you nominate. Now it's everywhere. People know. You hearing, oh man, y'all gonna win it, and this and that. You trying to be humble. You like, man, let me knock on wood every time somebody says it, and it's nerve wracking. And then, you still, making your run to your press run so that you can get it out there and etc. So Netflix comes on in the midst of us being nominated and says, "Yo, look, we'll take it." I don't remember the exact date. It might have been like March. Nominations were March 15th. This might have been like March 26th or something when they was like, "Yeah, we're gonna rock with it." They acquire it. Shout out to Netflix, and they ready to go. They like, all right, look, we gonna acquire this.
Which is ill, because up to this point, y'all have only shown it on Zoom and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, just a link. It ain't out nowhere. Now, what you do is you do send screeners out to the academy, like the academy gets their screeners or whatever, like people who vote. So they get like an old school DVD. But how many people are watching that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's 2021.
Most people don't even have players go.
Yeah. And so Netflix acquires. They're like, all right, we're gonna drop the trailer April 1st and announce that April 9th the movie dropped. April 9th is the day, before, it's either the day before, I think, or the day of that the voting started. And so it was nerve-wracking, like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? It's happening though. Now the world will see how we feel. And that was the main thing behind it. It wasn't like really about, the award shit. We were thinking like, how can we still get this project out to people? You know what I'm saying? Because the question we always get is, where can we see it?
Yeah.
And so Netflix acquires it. They dropped the release the trailer. Got pretty good feedback from that. And then the movie drops April 9th. It dropped April 9th on Netflix. Voting started April 15th. I'm sorry, not April 10th. So it's literally the week before, that Friday before voting starts.
It dropped on Netflix.
It dropped on Netflix. More people were able to see it. And they got to see it the whole week through. And then coincidentally, from that time frame until the actual Oscars on the 25th was, the Chauvin murder trial, that him being murdering George Floyd is going on. And the verdict comes out like right before. So that was very emotional for everybody who worked on the project, as I'm sure the people involved, but just everybody felt something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that was
for
an
it
Oscar
to go
for me.
from that moment in the backyard to now in just like a year, right? It was not even a year.
Yep. It hadn't even been a year.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was less than a year from when that happened. To that happening, and then that, to me, and I'll speak for me, or at least I thought in the moment, like, yo, the pressure is off my back. Like, we win. If we don't, this nigga still going to jail like he should. And so the awards happens at night. Shout out to Diddy and Ciroc and De Leon. They get us a nice venue to where we can be all vaxxed up. Everybody was vaxxed and COVID tested, and we can watch.
That's hot.
The shit together, because
so Diddy sponsored it, like with his company.
Yeah. Ciroc and De Leon sponsored it on behalf of Diddy. We had a dope like venue that was invite only. Everybody was vaxxed up.
And y'all did it in New York or L.A.?
In L.A.
LA.
In L.A. We did it in Hollywood at Hyde on Sunset.
Okay.
And we had food and it was. I'm downplaying it because I don't want people to think we were just out there, spreading COVID. Yeah, but it was a cool vibe. My mother got to be there with me, and
nice,
and all the people who worked on the movie, etc. And then because it was limited, right? So they did the Oscars at Union Station downtown, which I don't think it's ever been there before. But you only could have like 2 people from each movie come and their guests. And so Trayvon's lady, Trayvon, who's the writer and co-director, she was in the movie. She's Zarya. She's the young lady everybody sees throughout the movie.
She played the because she was the only girl in the movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, main character.
The 3 main actors.
2 in the cop.
3 actors. So you got Zarya, Joey Badass, and then Andrew Howard, they're all phenomenal. Shout out to Joey, man.
Right. And how did that happen? Like, did y'all went to him, or did he come?
Nah, we went to him for sure.
Yeah.
Like, we went through a friend of his or like a mentor of his or whatever, and yeah, man. And Trayvon saw it from jump. He was like, yo, Joey was like always one of the people in his mind. And I had only seen Joey on Mr. Robot, JJ's show. And I saw him a little bit in the Wu-Tang series too. And I was like, oh, he's dope.
Yeah, I thought he was good in that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if this is an emotional ass. And Trayvon was like, nah, I'm telling you, he got it. And so, being on set those couple of days, watching him, I mean, this brother went all out. Like, super professional, but just like, even beside, I wouldn't have gave a damn if he wasn't. Like, he was acting his ass off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm watching him. He got his face on the dirty ass concrete in downtown LA. Like, that ain't no stage. Like, he went all out, right?
Yeah.
And that's why you get the performance you get. Just seeing him in person, out of all the actors I've seen, he surprised me the most just because I didn't know. I didn't go into it thinking he didn't, because I trust, obviously, Trayvon, my partner, but I hadn't seen it. And I'm watching it. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Dude is hella talented. And then he's young. He's only like 25. You know what I'm saying? So, and to not even have like that grow up in Hollywood type shit and him be able to deliver, I think it helped a lot that he's a black man and this is something that he's probably experienced. But, like, man, he was just phenomenal. He went all out. He delivered in every single scene he was in. And Zarya, too, that scene in the kitchen where she's yelling to call the cops. Like, you got to understand, this is shot in a loop, right?
Right.
So,
Okay, wait. So, all right, before we get there, let's go back to the Oscars.
Yeah, so Trayvon took Zarya and Martin took his wife, obviously. And they went to the actual show and Trayvon delivered that amazing speech. And then they came back after getting the Oscars engraved and we all celebrated. And that was it was an amazing evening. The first thing, some people caught it on camera. I don't really give a shit. I was crying. Like, first thing I did was
what? That's come on, man. Y'all and y'all the first?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a crazy.
So it was a thing, everybody in my family was crying. My brother, like my sisters, it was a big deal. And so, to me at least, and so it was just amazing that happened, and that's how it went down.
Yeah,
I felt like all the stars aligned in that situation.
It definitely had to. Just hearing the whole story from the George Floyd incident all the way through, like, I feel like, cause you know, a lot of times, it's like, I feel like, you know, when you lose a life, we can't get that back. You know what I
Right.
mean? But for this, for y'all to be inspired by it, that's like the next best thing. That's something that I feel like we all sort of aspire for. Like, after I'm gone, I would like for my life to have inspired someone to do, you know what I mean, in some sort of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that that's a really dope tribute to George Floyd, even that y'all were inspired like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't even call it inspiration, but it was certainly a feeling, right? I felt for that man. I mean, watching that, you know, you get a little kickback, right? When you make a movie like this. You gotta have some people, oh, this is trauma, this is, nah, it's real. This is what fucking happens, right?
Right.
I watched this man be murdered on live television. And that's something I'll never be able to get out of my brain. Something I gotta wake up with every morning and walk out that door and
Yeah, and it's something we all think about.
just,
Like,
yeah, something that can happen to me, right?
Yep.
Something that can happen to my
every time.
cousins and you know, my brother and just whoever, my niece. It ain't just black men, it's happening to black women
too. Yep.
And the overall theme of the movie is like, dog, this nigga's just trying to get home to his dog. You know what I'm saying? He's not even on no bullshit. It don't matter what you do. You know, how you do it. He done tried 1,000 different approaches
Because
to this.
you always hear it's like you did something. Well, he did something, or he didn't do something right, or you know what I mean. It's always like the
Yeah, well, and they'll find some bullshit to say you was doing.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean none. The crazy thing is, it never justifies the murder. It don't matter what. I don't give a shit if somebody's still in a car. Like, to me, that don't justify. I never even understood high speed chases because it's like, bro, that shouldn't let them niggas have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you risking the lives of everybody else, like, just to catch. Like, you ain't got to catch them today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm saying. And they have so many different ways of going about that now.
yeah, and so yeah, but what I was saying earlier was, you know, when you talk about emotional drainage and just emotional baggage and really carrying this on your back. I mean, Joey and Zaria and even Andrew, who plays the cop, Andrew Howard, they're like Joey shot this every scene 100 damn times almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's a loop. So you can't even just move on from the scene. You gotta do the shit over, and it's slightly different. But you doing the same shit over and over and over and over. Like, imagine as an actor, all your scenes you getting killed, right?
Over and over and over again.
Over and over, you getting killed. You doing the same shit a different way and dying as an actor. You got to put yourself in that headspace over and over and over. And that's the type of shit that I'm saying, like, dude, when I it wasn't about, like, the actual skill of acting. It was about the mental space. Who can handle that mentally? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was surprised about. Like, you know, he never let it shake him. You know, I'm sure it did get to him, but we didn't see it. He smiled at everybody, let them know, hey, man, I'm good. You know, that's a lot of baggage for somebody to, like, have, man. Like, you know, he killed it. No pun intended, but he killed the role. I mean, I think he just did a phenomenal job, and you know, it was a blessing to work with all of them, all three of them, and everybody on the project. From my perspective.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. And really, like, I like it from a writing standpoint. I thought it was dope when I watched the movie, the way it was told, because it was a loop and it didn't play out. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, it wasn't like monotonous. You was still like on the edge of your seat with each occurrence. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what's gonna happen now? Why you didn't do this? I was wondering though, with it being such a what's the word? I don't want to. It's not a political move. It's I'm saying, like, with the whole defunding the police and Black Lives Matter, and just with that whole topic being addressed right now. I know that you got a lot of support for the movie being black filmmakers, but did you see any resistance? Do you feel like there was some resistance?
So one, I want to touch on what you said. I want to shout out to Trayvon again, who's the writer, who's also from Compton. I think he dropped the thing. I think that kept everybody in their seats and was super unique is he dropped so many Easter eggs on this, and just in terms of writing it, it was just phenomenally done. From him telling the girl when he first leaves, hey, and I hope it's not a spoiler for anybody, but shit, you should have seen it by now.
Right, I think everybody's seen it by now.
It's only 28 minutes. So from him, waking up and him saying a little joke to the girls, the very first scene is so important, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's how he notices he's in the time loop. It's how you figure out all the shit going on forward. He says, I want to wake up to you every. I would love to keep waking up to you, and she says, yeah, that's fine. And he says, how many times? She says, 100, right? And then he clicks later on in the movie, if you're watching it closely, that the cop is asking him, how many times I killed you before the last time he kills him? He says 99.
99.
So you waking up 100 damn times to the same girl. Like, just Easter eggs like that from the door when he flips the thing and like, yeah, you should get this shit fixed. It's 2 nights in an apartment. Right. That's one of the reasons they kicked the door in, because the sign is upside down, and just so many of those. And a lot of people think this is planned, but, and I have to address this. It's the most frequent question we get asked. The blood of Africa thing, the puddle. That is not planned. That shit, the prop blood spilled out like that.
Oh, word? Like, for real?
Yeah, we did not, Trayvon and Martin did not say, yo, like, we gonna shoot this and the blood's gonna be in the shape of the continent of Africa. Nah, that shit just was, it ended up
spilled into that shape.
Yeah. No bullshit. That was just coincidence. And Trayvon's looking at, so they're looking at it on a monitor for everybody who doesn't shoot movies and shit. They just watch them, whatever. They're viewing on their monitors while it's being shot and acted out. And Trayvon, who's just brilliant, and Martin, they notice this. Martin has lived and spent time in Africa. Even though he's a white boy, he's like active in that space. Trayvon is a black man, super pro black. They're seeing this. They're like, "Oh shit, this blood is the puddle of Africa. Like we ain't reshooting this scene." You know what I'm saying? And like that. Crazy. That's just purely coincidence. It wasn't planned at all. But yeah, so many Easter eggs, man. So many. And then to answer your actual question. No, we didn't really get too much kickback initially because, we are short, right? So when it's no theatrical release, we weren't on Netflix and stuff at first. So you kind of fly under the radar, right? In terms of, okay, the only people who's seeing it is the people you allow to see it. And so if we were getting public backlash or hate or whatever, we didn't see the shit. Right. But it was mainly support, man. A lot of people were saying that's how they felt, and that we did a good job of expressing that on camera.
That's dope. That's dope. So now once it got onto Netflix, like
Mm-hmm.
did you feel like um what I want to like the response did it come back like now it's like oh like everybody's seen it they telling you you know what I mean like how was that?
Yeah, man. I think that from Netflix alone, from it being on Netflix and people watching it from the 9th through on, I actually still get messages. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I have not made it through all the messages. I'm bad at checking DMs, and I'm rarely on Facebook, so it's probably 1,000 messages on there. But I do check my email and text. So when he hit me, I'm like, yo, tell him to text me, fam. Like, I purposely do not ignore anybody. So I will go check whatever, but like, hit me on the text. That get checked. That and emails get checks every day. But nah, man. Like, for the most part, man, I'd say about 98% of every response that was directly sent to me was, man, we loved it. This is exactly how we feel. Oh my God, it's such a strong or touching film, and you know, you could tell people were being like careful with their words. Everybody, I feel like wanted to say it's a beautiful film, but it ain't nothing beautiful about black men being killed by the police.
Right.
And so you could tell people were like trying to, all right, what word can I insert here, you know, to express that I feel like is this, but not use that word. And so, you know, the love has been amazing and abundant. Um, it's still coming in and pouring in. Somebody every day says, you know, how much they appreciate how much thought was put into this project and that it delivered.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So now that you have now that you've done this one like do you plan on like going further doing some more stuff or expounding upon this particular film or how like what's the next step?
Yeah, man. I mean, so 1,000% honest, you know, this shit ain't even sunk in yet. So it ain't like I got everything else planned out. But I think for sure it's gonna be more projects. I'm right now we're entertaining and working a few kinks out in other projects that we're gonna do. But it ain't even been like a month. It's only been 2 weeks, and I think we're gonna slow cook, man. We're not in a rush to put out just anything. It's like you remember when, and I'll relate this to music. Remember when people would drop an album, and it's a classic album. You ain't rushing to put out shit else. You don't want to put no bullshit out. So when Illmatic dropped, Nas ain't dropping right the next month. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Reasonable Doubt the same. And, you know, now I get it. Everything is every day, you know. But, you know, I'm not even on that wave. I think I'm going to personally, I speak for me, do what I feel is right with no, you know, timetable attached. I'm going to do what I want to do, you know, how I want to do it and when I want to do it. I think that's important to me in this space. I just don't want to just take just random shit just to get a check. And I think I feel strong. I think I can speak for everybody on the team. You know, we're all pretty successful in our individual lives and everything we got going. So, yeah, I think that I think we're gonna slow cook. I don't know what's next. I think whatever's next will be dope. I pray it is. And yeah, man, that's where I'm at. I mean, I think because I got asked that last year I had a doc on Netflix called Uppity about Willie T. Ribbs, the black race car driver, and everybody was like, "What's next? What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "Fam, I have no clue." And then, I think Uppity dropped on Netflix Black History Month, right? Of 2020, so right before the pandemic.
Right.
A year and a month later, or a year and 2 months later, Two Distant Strangers drops on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you could have asked if I was doing it for the money, I'd have been like, "Oh, this shit dropping tomorrow." Like, I'm not in that space at the moment. I'm just like, yo, whatever's dope. I'm gonna just keep. I think a lot of problem with people in any space, not even just this, because obviously I've been doing other things long and I've been a filmmaker, is trying to keep up and do this and do that and rush to do. And I'm like, fam, if the shit work for you, just keep moving like that. You don't have to change up. Just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so that's just kind of where I'm at with it right now. I think, like, I like the pace that I'm at. I like how it's gradually growing. Eventually we'll be a bigger production company to where we can, we can take on more projects and do more things and do them at a more rapid pace. But right now it's just like, hey, we're gonna enjoy this moment, and we'll work on developing and figuring out what's next when it's time. Which we did just meet yesterday to kind of talk about that, but yeah, we don't have whatever's next set in stone yet.
Gotcha. One thing I did, we kind of skipped over that I wanted to ask you. When you, like, how big was the crew that you shot with? Like, because the thing is, it's like, I also want to touch on a little bit of things, like, for anybody who may be, like, aspiring to get into film or just, starting out, stuff like that. Like, maybe things they could learn from, you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, like, you said that, normally the crew probably would have been bigger, the production would have been bigger, but because of COVID, y'all had to operate like in a
not normally would have necessarily been bigger because it's a short, and shorts usually people shoot shorts for no money. Obviously, we're blessed to have some money behind it, but shorts are usually done by I think the short aspect even came from, like, students. They make their college film. Obviously, it ain't gonna be big budget. You're not gonna have a full feature, and that's kind of, I think, how shorts became popular. Like, it's more of a tool to get started and showcase that you can do something to get something else. But I think that it's not to say that we would have necessarily just had a humongous crew, but it's to say that we didn't even have that option, right? We didn't get to have the option to have hella PAs or, multiple hair and makeup people and wardrobe people and, a whole bunch of crafty people. Like, we had one craft services lady who held us down, right? And just made sure everybody was fed and had snacks. And even then, she made sure everybody was getting their hand sanitizer and washing their hands before they went and got it. We had the bathroom station people, but none of those people were even on set, right? So on the set, you had the few extras. So I would say maybe like 6 extras. The 3 actors is 9 people. The cinematographer, the directors, producers weren't even on set every moment, so we were only there sporadically. And it wasn't even all producers. Some producers weren't even able to come to set. It was just a few of us. But yeah, like, and then the photographer. director, photographer. Like it was so you only had maybe 20 people, including the crew, that was like in the same room, and even in those smaller rooms, like the apartment scene, shit, maybe just Joey, the directors, and the camera, so maybe like 6 people. So yeah, it wasn't a big. We worked on a skeleton crew, like for real. I think we might have had, if you count everybody, that includes producers, which we had a lot of, and crew, cast, directors, writer. The writer and the director is one person. We probably had less than 40, probably like 40 people who was involved. That's including editing, that's post.
That's everything.
Everything. Yeah. Like, which is still great, a number for a short, but when you shooting a short like a big production, it doesn't you need a big crew, and we just didn't have that. But we were able to, because our film is a short film, but most short films is not 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You pushing it with a 30-minute short, because I think you don't even qualify to be considered a short if you do 40 minutes.
Right.
So we was 10 minutes away from that. We was on the ladder. And yeah, man, we were just able to, by the grace of God, do it. This is the crazy thing I meant to say earlier. I'm hinting towards this, but literally the Monday after we finished shooting, production stopped again. So we did this shit in 5 days. We wouldn't have been able to do a 6. We wouldn't even been able to go back and shoot because production in California had stopped again.
Really?
Yeah, so we finished literally in the nick of time. Or would have just been fucked.
That's crazy.
That's why I said the stars aligned, man.
Yeah, everything was lining up.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. That's what's up, man. So yeah, I think that's dope, man. That y'all, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it was that you had a vision and y'all made it happen. It wasn't forced, but it was. You know what I mean? Like, you put the energy to it, and it happened. Like, that's hot.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. Like, it's it seemed to be a trend in our family. Shit, we just get shit done. We don't worry about cost or the stress or whatever. It's just like do what you can to get it done. And I feel like that's what we at. That's the mentality we took on with this film. We could have easily said, we can't afford to do this shit, or whatever. And that just wasn't it. We were just like, man, look, if ain't nobody else gonna pay for this shit, we'll figure it out. Right. Let's just start it up. And sometimes that's what you gotta do. You gotta show people you serious and willing to do whatever to make it happen. And then they'll come around later and they'll say, hey, all right, I believe you now, or I see it now. I can kind of. I'm watching this show called Startup. It's on Netflix now. It used to be on Crackle. And they talk about, one of the episodes is, it's essentially faking it till you make it. But they had already made it, right? They had already had like real money invested in shit like that. And is this gangster, this like clinical fuck up. He was like an accountant, and then this genius chick who made this code. She spent like 7 years of her life, from 18 to 25, making this code to do cryptocurrency, and she ends up. They end up like getting this investor to do 1.5 million in it. Somebody hacks the shit. They started off with drug money that was laundered. Somebody hacks the shit, takes all that. They get this other investor to do 1.5 in it. Somebody hacks and takes that. But the whole point of this shit is that the shit's supposed to be unhackable. It's the one motherfucker who can hack it who hacks the shit.
Who's hacking this shit?
And so to take all the money, he's only hacking the shit because this dirty FBI guy. Anyway, I'm going too deep into the plot. The preference is this. The main part of this. The black guy is like, yo, look, we tried this shit y'all way. Now we're going to try it my way. And if I'm looking at it on the outside looking in, people invest in what they see, right? They see you doing the hard work and they see you doing this and that. That's proof of concept to them. They'll take you more serious. So we out here pitching and pitching at lunches and shit like that. We need to get an office space. We need to hire some interns, just be off in there and working and answering the phones or whatever and make it look, like we serious. Because even if we can be as serious as we want to be, have a perfect plan, but if we don't look the part, if we're not showing that this is what we're trying to do, then nobody's going to take it serious. So they did that, then they ended up getting this huge tech guy to put in millions and millions of dollars. And so that's as far as I'm going to go into that. But it's just once you do the work and show you serious about doing the work, people will come, man. Like, I know a lot of times we'd be like, oh, they not fucking with me or this and that. I mean, you know it from when you was rapping, when you first started off. I mean, how many people did you tell you wanted to rap before you actually start rapping? There's probably a bunch.
Probably everybody. Yeah.
Right? And then and we just happen to be in the family of Ray and Rico and all them. Them niggas was probably like, man, that's just kid. He ain't serious until you got up in that motherfucking rap. And then they was like, oh, okay. He for real. You know what I'm saying? He really wants to do this. He's taking it serious. So they'll gradually, all right, cool, hear this beat. Let's do this. Let's get in the studio time, whatever. And it works the same way with anything, I think. In some instances, it's always going to be somebody that tried to hold you down. But you said something earlier. I don't think the world is full of haters. There's going to be a few good motherfuckers out there.
That's what I said. I said, I know the world ain't full of haters. It ain't. You know what I mean?
Somebody going to rock with you.
Right. The world is not full of haters.
And see the potential if you just keep at it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of one of them things. Kobe's one of my favorite ball players. Him, Michael Jordan, Shaq, T-Mac, all them. But what set Kobe and Mike apart from everybody was just laser focus, right? And once you locked in like that, it seems like everything will fall into place if you truly locked in. And that's what happened with Two Nation Strangers. I've been in positions where I've tried to do something similar before, and I wasn't 100% locked in because I was not being 100% locked in creates doubt, right? When you doubt shit, you ain't 100% in. You gonna have one foot in, and you like, all right, I don't want to leave my day job because, this shit. I mean, in 2020, I turned 30 in 2019, and I told myself that everybody was like, oh man, you need to just go back to corporate or do this. And I said, man, look, I'm gonna give myself 2 years to do this shit. And if I don't do this shit in 2 years, then I'll go do corporate or whatever. In 2 years, I done had 2 movies come out on Netflix. One which is an Oscar winner, you know what I'm saying? One and the other had rave reviews and was very well received. And I could have easily gave up or been 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And this shit is not easy, to believing in self. You know what I'm saying? Like, self-doubt is easily, the biggest dream killer out there. It don't be other people. It be yourself, right? It be you saying, I want to be a ball player, and then you working a regular 9 to 5 every day because you like, I still got to pay the bills. And man, as much as crazy as saying, you can't worry about that shit. If you locked in, all this other shit gonna get worked out eventually. And then if not, then you got to pivot and try something else. But I think it's a higher success rate if you truly locked into something than not. I watched the J. Cole mini doc yesterday when it dropped, and he was saying, yeah, man, I had a real conversation with the homies when I was done with school. We said I might have been 21, and they were just like, "Are you really trying to do this rap shit or not?" You know, like, nigga, I'm like, "What you mean? I'm making beats, I'm doing this," and he was like, "Yeah, but you ain't really fully in it. You know what I'm saying? You partying more with us all the time." And he was like, "Nigga, I'm with y'all. That's why I'm doing it." But what he was saying was like, they wasn't trying to be rappers. He trying to do something great that puts him on another path and trajectory, and he doing what they do, which they don't have the same goal in mind, right? And so he was able to pivot and lock in. He said he was making beats every day. He would write a song every day before he left, got on the train to do this and do that. And so that's enabled him to, be where he's at. And even the same thing with I guess he's hooping now, professionally, but he's just always been a dream of his. But shit, now he's 34, 35, 36, something like that. Like, persistence and consistency is two powerful things, man. And, I wish that brother well and hope he continues to, like, climb the ladder to his goals. But, like, that's a crazy, goal to have, but it's even crazier to accomplish it. And that's the mentality you gotta be. Like, yeah, it's just crazy to have this goal or this dream, but it's gonna be even crazier when I do it. But yeah, man, that's like my, spill on that. Yeah, man, I think that self-doubt is the biggest dream killer in the world.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. Yeah, cause like that just made me think when you was saying that. Like when I came to Atlanta, when I started, when I came here, I had music already. You know what I mean? Like so I don't think they ever felt like they needed me to prove myself, because I never once considered doing anything else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I wanted to do. So I just kind of did it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's what am I trying to say? Like touching on what you were saying earlier, it's about what you're after. You know what I mean? If you chase after what you're after, you'll always be happy, instead of trying to, I guess, chase what people tell you you're supposed to go for.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to go for what makes you happy. But
yeah, that's facts. I mean, a lot of people chase riches, and I tell people all the time, like, yeah, I don't care about being a millionaire or anything like that. It's not a goal of mine. My goal is to be happy, because you can be a millionaire, you can be a multimillionaire, you can be a damn billionaire and not be happy.
right,
And at that point, what is your real currency?
right,
It ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's people, millionaires who take their life every day because they unhappy. They feel like they have done everything. It ain't nothing. I try to live life through love and joy and happiness. We ain't always successful at that, but that's my life goal. And yeah, like, I don't want to be in a position to where, that's what motivates me. You're never gonna truly be happy until you're doing what you love to do. And whether that be work related, or whether that be relationship related, or whether that be, whatever, I think I truly believe that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's facts. That's facts. That's what I was saying. We do not live in a world full of haters. That's why y'all need to like,
Right.
subscribe, and share the broadcast so that I can,
For sure.
bring content like this, man. I think this is dope. You know what I mean? And again, like, if it's, I don't know, what the process is, if it's too much, but I was also wondering if you could give like a brief, maybe overview of like, what exactly are the steps of taking a movie from idea to final product? You know what I mean?
So the steps from start to finish, man, is, you know, it works differently for different people. Like some people start off with a script. I start off with let me backtrack. Everybody starts off with an idea. Now, what you do after that can vary. Some people start off with the script after that. Some people I start my shit off with a deck and visuals because I need to see what could potentially be, even if it don't end up like that. I need to put what I'm seeing on paper or on the computer nowadays to visualize what it could be. And so, you got the development stage. You've got, so you got the development stage. You got the attachment stage to where you start saying, okay, this person's gonna produce, this person's gonna direct, and sometimes you might not have no attachments. You walk in blindly with a script and pitch it. It works a plethora of different ways, but the main things are getting an idea, developing an idea, pitching, financing, and then shooting. Then you got post-production, which is editing and sound and all that shit. And then you got the big thing, which is marketing. And then after that, it's release. And so I think out of those stages, it all starts with the idea. That's the most important thing. My sister said this shit all the time. It used to irritate me, but because I'm like, hey, that ain't real life. It really is. Yo, like, people can take their iPhone. I done seen some people shoot some dope ass shit on these phones.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a movie called 9w. If you check that shit out, I don't know where it's showing right now.
Or lives?
Nine rides.
Oh, 9 rides.
Like,
I was both
yeah.
wrong both
And
times.
it's a crazy concept. It's like done by did Matthew Cherry direct the show? I don't remember. I think Matthew Cherry might have directed it. I'm not sure, but it's essentially a movie told through an iPhone from an Uber driver or cab driver, or whatever, where he's doing 9 rides to close out his day and interact with different people. You have these cell phones are tools, right? You got to use what tools you got. Yeah. I watch these kids. I don't know what country or what part of Africa they're from, but I watched them for like a year straight. They were doing reenactments of famous movies, and I ain't just talking about like a monologue. I'm talking like action movies. One of them they did was Fast and Furious. They in this little part of Africa. I don't know how they got this cell phone. They matched this shit up scene for scene with whatever they had laying next to them. So they didn't have swords. They had a stick. They had whatever. But they nailed that shit. And I want to say Franklin Leonard, who's over the blacklist, and Netflix may have sent them actual camera equipment and shit to do. Everybody took notice. It was a big thing for a minute. And they work with what they had. And I think that's part of being a filmmaker, too. You work your way up. You don't start off as Abel. You don't start off as John Singleton or Spike Lee or, Robert Townsend or any. You work your way up gradually. That's what you strive for. That's at the top. But there's millions of other, filmmakers and people out here who are doing great work, just like those people. They just do it on a smaller scale, and you got to start somewhere, right? When you drop an album, people don't just drop albums. You drop a freestyle, and you might come back with a mixtape and then the EP, Then you drop the album. That's how the rollout used to be. Right?
Because I
Now
was talking to Shannon last night about something like
yeah.
that, where I was saying like people like to use the word that or the term successful artist or successful rapper or something like that.
Right.
And I'm like, what does that even mean? Because to me, if you accomplished what you set out to do, then you're successful.
Yeah, I mean, that's I guess the equivalent would be the equivalent would be when people say, "Yeah, I'm a working actor." No, you're just an actor that works. So you're just an actor, right? That term "working actor" rubs so many the wrong way because, shit, if you don't have a job at that moment, you still an actor, right?
Right.
You know, so I guess that's what would be equivalent to that. But yeah, man, you know, it's it's truly a multitude of ways to where people can, find success. I think success is what you define it as. I don't think it's what anybody else. Like you said, if your goal was to put out an album, that might be what you find as a success. Other people might say, "Nah, you ain't successful unless you diamond." But everybody can't be diamond. Your goal wasn't to be diamond in the first place; it was to put out an album, right? Or to put out a track, or to whatever. And so, people like Barry Sanders is a great analogy. When Barry, they say, "Oh, he should have played 10 more years." Yeah, well, maybe he didn't want to. Maybe that was success for him. His success was getting to the NFL and setting a rushing record and doing all this and that.
And
It wasn't a play 30
being
years.
one of the best to ever do
Yeah.
it.
everybody ain't Emmitt Smith. You know what I'm saying? They said the same thing about Jim Brown. Jim Brown was like, "Man, I'm trying to get the fuck on. Like, this shit cool. This is what I wanted to do. Now I want to do something else.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into acting and making movies and shit." And so, when people try to box you in, they only can box you in if you allow it. Right? It's the same thing when somebody box you out in basketball. Like, they only put you in the box if you allow it. If you jump about that motherfucker, you good. And so I think that's something that most people don't, realize. You got to do what makes you happy. And, if that ain't, people will say I'm crazy because I was making good money. I was doing something. It was cool. Don't get me wrong. It was something I wanted to do at the time. But to stop and to jump into filmmaking, like full time, was what I wanted to do. And everybody would say, "Oh, you nuts, you bugging, you about to lose benefits and money just to do." I'm like, yeah, because I don't need all that shit, right? Some people define success by houses and cars and material things, but bro, I'm young enough. It's just me. I ain't got no kids. I'm taking advantage of this time to do what I want to do, where I can do what I want to do, and it don't affect nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And if people don't understand that, they just don't understand it. But that's my truth and that's my happiness at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I think that you hit the nail on the head, man. Your success is what you define it as, for sure.
That's dope. That's dope. That's what's up, man. I really appreciate you coming on, man, and doing this with me. Like,
No doubt, man.
Dope, man.
No doubt. I'm glad I could do it.
Yeah, for sure.
I could do it.
Yeah, and just to see the whole three, everything come full circle and like this is dope. This is dope.
Yeah, man, came a long way from when you and Shannon. I told Shannon, I was like, yeah, we came. Me and Chris came a long way from when y'all used to bully us in the country in the backyard because we was bugging y'all while y'all was sneaking the smoke.
That's funny. And you
Shannon,
know what?
Shannon said, "Nigga, we stopped doing that when y'all was 6 feet, 6th grade." And I was like, "Yeah, man, but like, really, And I have to shout Shannon out for this because,
That's
you know,
funny.
when I was 18, Shannon got me an internship with the mayor of Los Angeles, right? Not many 18-year-olds get that, especially not no black one. And that kind of shaped the trajectory of how my life was going and stuff at the time. You know, I was pretty much done playing ball and, you know, I had some leg injuries and things of that nature, but
Cause
that
where was you playing at? You played
Troy.
You played at Troy.
Yep.
Troy, Alabama.
Yep.
Yep.
But, you know, I never even cared about sports like that. You know what I'm saying? I was just doing it because my brother was doing it. I just happened to be good at it. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But with Shannon helping me get that internship and kind of just helping guide me that summer. At that point, I had 4 jobs that summer. I couldn't do shit else. You know what I'm saying? I was working at Abercrombie and Fitch as a manager. I was working at the city of LA as an intern. I was at the ArcLight Cinemas just so me and Ava can go to the movies for free. and I was working at Rite Aid.
Yeah.
Supervisor at 18, I was like, man, I'm about to stack money this summer and go buy an old school. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking about. But Shannon, like at the time, was like, dude, you got an opportunity, bro. Like you in a position where you got an internship with the mayor of Los Angeles. Antonio Villaraigosa at the time. Shout out Antonio. But it's crazy. I was like, yo, nigga, like I don't got no suits and shit, nigga. I came out here to chill for the summer, nigga. I'm back home. I ain't really.
Yeah.
So, man, I want to. It was either Shannon or my sister. I think my sisters took me to Santee Alley, and we got. Man, I went and got like 3 suits for $99. Shit was trash. But they looked fly on me though. Right? But I had broad shoulders, so they didn't really need to do too much. All they did was tailor like the arms and the legs. And yeah, man, I rocked out with them 3 suits. I mixed and matched, and some days I would just wear the slacks with the button down shirt, but I was going every day to City Hall. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up out of that getting a paid position with the city, like after a few weeks. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it just ended up working out. Shannon is saying his story is hilarious, but this nigga was pitching me to somebody that he knew, but the nigga didn't really know Shannon. It's funny, sir. No, this is the last time I'm gonna say this. No cap. This is bullshit, but it's hilarious. I got this internship with Shannon. I ain't got no whole bunch of money. You know, I got a little bread stash, so we like, yo, like Shannon's like, yo, for lunch today, just like my second week, but I had did something really dope, like with the department I was already in. All these niggas in the internship program, all the people, it's like they go to Stanford and Yale and Harvard and all that shit. I go to Troy out in fucking Alabama. So I was like, and I was the only athlete. They was like looking at me weird and shit. But anyway, we go to the farmer's market downstairs. They had a farmer's market every Friday, I believe, in downtown LA, in front of City Hall. So he's like, nah, we got to try these shish kebabs. Like, nigga, I don't eat no shish kebabs, fam. Like, I'm trying to eat good for lunch, man. Let's go. Some Subway or something, nigga. So he's like, nah, I'm going to show you how to do it on the budget. Shannon had kids and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. So I walk down with him. We go grab lunch. It's this dude. Shannon sees him across the way. He's like, yo, let me introduce you to this dude. Now, I don't know. I'm following him blindly. I don't know. This nigga don't really know Shannon like that. He know his face, don't know his name. Calls this nigga Jimmy. No bullshit. So Shannon says, hey, Mr. Irish, how you doing, Greg? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, what's up, Jimmy? And all this shit. And Shannon doesn't correct this nigga. I was like, who the fuck is Jimmy? And Shannon's like, yeah. He just talks past it. And he's like, man, I want to introduce you to my cousin. He's out here from college on the internship. He just did this, and this with the mayor already. Only been here 2 weeks. You know, whoop. And he says, yo, I got a paid position with Wib, which he basically was like the lieutenant or the deputy mayor. But he had a whole different section of whatever government that he was running. He was running Workforce Investment Board and CDD, the Community Development Department. And he ends up saying, basically brushing this nigga Shannon out. He's like, yo, here's my card and come over for an interview tomorrow at such and such time. So he walks out and I'm like, yo, Shannon, like, who the fuck is Jimmy, dog? Like, actually just talked past it. He was like, man, don't worry about that shit, whatever. It wasn't until like later on I found out this nigga just didn't know Shannon's name. He just called him whatever. So the next Monday, this interview with this nigga Greg, but I didn't. And he's a black dude, by the way, too. So high up position, whatever. And I had this interview with him, but I still had to be at my internship, so I had to take the interview on my lunch break. The shit was on the other side of downtown LA. I'm figuring out, oh, this nigga don't work at City Hall. I can't just walk to this nigga office 10 minutes before. So I gotta run. I run, and my knees still hurt, fucked up at the time. I run in some dress shoes and a suit. I run maybe like, I think this shit might have been 2 or 3 miles to this nigga's office. Get there all of the stairs. I'm late. I'm like 5 minutes. I make it there like 5 minutes after I was supposed to be there. I'm sweating. I'm drenched in sweat. The lady's looking at me like, what the fuck? And the old white lady looking at me crazy because I'm running there huffing and puffing and panting. And I'm like, I'm here to see Mr. Irish. She's like, what's your name? I like Nic Maye. She's like, yeah, he left like 5 minutes ago. Him and Magic Johnson had to go to some thing, whatever. And she's like, are you okay? Do you need a seat? And I was like, man, I just ran here from downtown, from the City Hall. And she just laughed. She just have a seat. And the nigga never came. He wasn't coming back. She just like wanted me to catch my breath. And she was like, I let him know you dropped by. So now I gotta run my ass all the way back to City Hall. And I'm the whole time I'm running because I gotta make it back before my lunch break is over. I'm like, man, fuck, like, dude, I blew this shit out. This nigga's probably like, late nigga. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is always, it's a terrible look. And I get a call the next day. He's like laughing. He's like, yo, can you make it over here in 9 minutes? I got time to interview you today or whatever. Like, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, Mr. Irish. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I figured it out. And then he says, yeah, take the dash this time. You know you don't have to run. It's a dash. It costs $0.25 that literally gets you here in 7 minutes. And it runs every 7. So I'm like, what? I hang up the phone. I go outside and I see this big ass sign that says dash, and it stops and drops you off right in front of his office. So I get on the dash. You got air conditioning and all of this shit. Might even have Wi-Fi. So I'm like, why the fuck did I just run 3 miles to the office? And I was like, that's why the lady was laughing at me. So anyway, I get upstairs and sit with this nigga in interview. He said, "Yeah, I heard you had a rough day yesterday. You're running over here." And he was like, "Don't worry, I run 10 miles a day." He really did. This nigga was in phenomenal shape to be old. And I laughed, and he was like, "Nah, that's why you're gonna get the job. If you care enough to run to a job interview, I don't give a shit if you were late or not. It shows guts and it shows, you know, pizzazz, and that you care about the shit." And so we're gonna hire you. He ended up hiring me, putting me with Donnie Brooks and Khalid Ali, two mentors to me to this day, who are just dope people. But I still never knew why she called this nigga Shannon Jimmy until I tell Shannon the year I got the job, and I'm gonna have to quit the internship. And he was like, "No, you have to quit. Greg's just gonna tell the mayor, you know, he's pulling you over there." And I was like, "Yo, so why did this nigga call you Jimmy?" He says, "Oh, he just don't know my name." So this whole time I have been thinking, Shannon do this nigga. He don't even know this nigga. You know what I mean? How much that take? Like, you young nigga, you know he don't know you though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
Shannon just walked up to him like, "Hey, what's happening?
Yeah,
This
that's
my
just like
cousin."
me walking up to LeBron, like, "Yo, I got this nigga."
Yeah, man, that's Shannon for you, man.
And the trainer not knowing, I don't even know this nigga LeBron. And so it's just like, that shit has always stuck with me. It's always a funny story, but nah, it's true shit. And man, that's how I got on with the city and kind of made my name in LA, and it's opened up so many doors for me, man. So I always indebted to Shannon for that.
That's dope. That's dope. I'm gonna have Shannon on the show. He was supposed to be on already.
Yeah.
A couple days ago, but he got hung up. But,
Yeah, you know, Shannon's a father, so
yeah, he.
you know how that go.
Yeah, I already know. But yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna have him come on though, man, and chop it up with him too, man. But yeah,
For
that's
sure.
dope, man. That's dope, man.
When he come on
I tell
here,
people all the time.
when he come on here and started off with, "So Jimmy, how did?" and he gonna be like, "Man, what?" He gonna know exactly where you got it from.
Right.
And, you've been talking to Nick guys, huh?
Yeah, he gonna know already. Yeah, man. That's what I was saying. I tell people a lot, man, that back in the day, like when I first started doing music, like your sister inspired me a lot. Like before she was doing film, when she was rapping, I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know y'all was young, but she was dope, man. Like, you know, back in the day in LA and stuff, and I used to really look up to her, like wanting to. She gave me something to like aspire to a level to get to. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I was saying. I think that's why when I came here and went to the dungeon, like, cause I went to the dungeon the first day I got to the South. You know what I mean?
Got you.
Like,
Yep.
Big Gip came.
Fresh out of Carson.
Yeah, Ray sent Big Gip over to get me. They picked me up. I went to the dungeon. I think I stayed there for like, I didn't come back to my aunt's house to about 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Some shit like that. But I already had music. You know what I mean? Because that was the culture back in the day. Like, we was getting it in, man. I was making our own beats and rhyming and circulating tapes and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Just grinding, man. So, you know what I mean? But definitely Ava was always somebody I looked up to for that, man. And I think it's dope, man, that now, you know what I mean, she has transitioned to doing film, and then you was able to do the same, like follow your dream, and you know what I mean, and you hear it now just on your way. Like, that's live, man.
Nah, man, I think everybody is you know, we have a very blessed bloodline to where, you know, everybody kind of is doing something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know a more fortunate family out of all the people I know. I'm sure there's some out there, but like, just fortunate bloodline to where, you know, we got Nola, who's, you know, damn near 100, still kicking. You know, my grandma's damn near 90. She just stopped driving. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got everybody doing something positive. Everybody doing something. One thing about like the family, it ain't really no situation. Everybody got his. Every family has this thing, you know, where whether people get sick or whatever, but everybody's still doing something positive. Ain't nobody on no bullshit.
Yeah,
for
we
real.
come from a real positive family. Like
Yeah.
that's ever since I was a kid, they've always been really instilling that into me. Positivity, how
Yeah.
I am with others, and just showing love and being genuine. Like it's a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
a
really
blessing.
appreciate
You know what I'm
that.
saying? I
Yeah.
know, and again, it's no arrogance to it or anything. I just don't know a family. And when I say family, I don't mean just immediate family. I mean like the bloodline of just people doing positive shit. It don't have to be big shit, just doing something.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm just blessed to be, you know, like a part of that, and to experience and see that has driven me to be the man who I am today. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you are what you what you grow to be, and that's a lot. A lot of that is centered around circumstance and upbringing and what you surrounded with. But you know, when you're always surrounded by love and laughter and happiness and joy, and that don't mean is money. That just mean, you know, shit. Some of my favorite times as a kid was being in the country at my granddad's house. You know what I'm saying? And you've been there.
Yeah,
It ain't shit there. Ain't no TV. That shit had one TV that had an antenna. That shit got one channel.
Yeah, we used to just make up stuff to play.
Yeah. Make up
Busting
stuff.
bottles.
You outside, like,
Yeah.
you know, until Mick put the goal up. That was something, you know,
Yeah.
we had a fake ass haunted house. It wasn't no haunted house. It was just a house that was on our property next door. Nobody lived there.
Yeah, I remember the little house behind the
make up
basketball
shit
goal.
to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it don't mean a monetary thing, but it just means like a positive thing. And even you and Shannon and Kenny and Eric and Larry, y'all were older than me and my brother. Even though we was tall and shit, it might not have seemed that way, but we was like looking up, like everybody was doing something. Even though we all same generation, just older, like y'all was in high school, we was in junior high type shit. But like seeing you rapping and doing art and going to college, and Shannon going to college and Eric going to college and playing ball, and Shannon, even Shannon working at Red Lobster, I'll never forget that shit. And I think he had worked at like Chuck E. Cheese. Nigga had the hook up at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
But like, just seeing that is positive. It show you like, yeah, man, ain't nothing to be embarrassed about. Ain't nothing to not look cool. Like we thought y'all was all the coolest niggas on the planet. Y'all was just regular people. The same way y'all looked up to my dad and them, like, yo, our uncles is doing this. It ain't like the most glamorous job, but they was doing what they had to do. They was making money. They was taking care of their family. They got cool whips.
I used to think it was live when I was a kid because I used to work with them. You know what I mean? Cleo, like I worked with everybody. I used to go out there with them.
Man, I used to think that shit was fun too till I started doing it. That shit ain't fun.
The only thing I didn't like was the knee hit, the stretching the carpet with your knee. Man, that's
you gotta be a strong individual, and them niggas work fast too. So it ain't no like taking your time. The way
they like hurry.
They like we can get to the next job. We can do 2-3 of these mugs in a day and make some good money versus you know you taking a week to do one thing. And so you know it wasn't no like when he telling you, hey man, go out and get that big ass roll of carpet.
Big ass roll of carpet.
Yeah. And you can't carry it. It's 3 of y'all niggas and y'all can't carry it in at 18. And this nigga just go with one arm.
One arm. Just get it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's showing you learn little things about brotherhood and how they all stuck together and work habits and being punctual and professional and you shit, just fellowship, all that. So, I was grateful to be, to be a fly on the wall in that situation. But yeah, man, I always remember. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. I always remember. What was this fucking joke? Man, it was a point in time where somebody had made me feel bad about what my dad did because I didn't really understand. I was dumb young. And they was like, yeah, nigga, your daddy a carpenter. This nigga, first of all, this nigga pops was a drug dealer. So I should have been like, nigga, whatever. But I'm like, I think I might have told like my mom or grandma or somebody, I don't know. And they was like, yeah, Jesus was a carpenter too. And I was like, drops mic, nigga. So next time somebody said that shit to me, I was just like, nigga, so was Jesus, nigga.
Yeah.
Like, all aggressive, like, I was confident in that line. But, that was just, it was cool, man. I just thought they was all dope and it was just good to see growing up, so.
Yeah, it was, man. Definitely. Like, I appreciate it, man, because they would just come pick me up, like,
yeah.
Boy, you want to come ride with us? And I just hop in,
yeah.
man, and just go. Yeah.
But see, y'all was getting picked up in the cool shit. Y'all was getting picked up when they had the vets and all that.
Nah, I got picked up in everything. The vans, the trucks. I got picked up in everything.
It would be niggas like when Dale would swoop me a few times.
Where he had the van,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
And them niggas would roast. You know how niggas just roasted anything back then.
Yeah.
They was like, y'all niggas gotta go to work when y'all get out of school, like type of shit. Like, nigga, I'm going to the crib, nigga. This is so work. But like, yeah, like.
Hell yeah.
That used to be. It used to be funny. It's funny looking back on this shit now. Like, be embarrassed about bullshit when you were a kid. I'm like, nigga, my pops had a job, a damn good one. So like, what was I on? Just not understanding, and so.
Yeah, it was just kids, man. When you kid,
with age comes growth, and with growth comes wisdom. And with wisdom, obviously, comes knowledge. And so you know better, you do better. And yeah, man, that's just where I'm at with it.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, man, I appreciate you coming on here. This has been dope, man. I'm gonna, put it up. I'm gonna have to get you to come back on too. Like, the thing is I'll be trying to do stuff like after I have a guest come on, I'll try to have like another episode where it'd be like a group thing. Like, I'll bring somebody else on with some sort of related topic that we could have a discussion. Like I have a few people in mind that I'd like to bring you on with, but a friend of mine, Najaha, I'd like to have you on with her. She's like kind of like a community activist type person. She's Farrakhan's granddaughter, but she like organized a lot of that stuff, like the water issue in Flint and like the Haiti thing with Haiti. Like she organized a lot of those protests and stuff like that. She spoke at the Million Man March, the commemoration of the Million Man March, and she's done some things for George Floyd as well. So I think that'll be dope to have y'all come on together and we kind of just have like an open forum discussion. You know what I mean?
Word, man, for sure. Yeah. Well, this is dope, cuz I appreciate you, and I'm proud of you. Glad you're doing your thing. I enjoyed this. I produced podcasts and done all that shit. I never enjoyed being on anything, so it was cool to do. It felt very lax, and nah, man, keep doing your thing for sure.
Dope, man. I appreciate it, man. Definitely going to. Hopefully it get bigger. You know what I mean? Just keep pushing. But
yeah, man.
Definitely. But
that's consistency and persistency.
Definitely. But yeah, man, we gotta chop it up more, man. Now that I got your number and everything, man, you got my number. Hit me, man. I'm gonna hit you up so we can chop it up a little more.
For sure, man. Tap in with me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. Later.
All right,
Cuz.
cuz.
In a minute.
Peace.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Man, it always do that when I'm trying to switch. See, there it go again. Oh, why did it do that? All right, that's the screen I'm trying to bring up. They do that every time. But yeah, man, that's dope, man. I appreciate him coming on. That's obviously my little cousin. You know what I mean? My younger cousin. He's little, but he kicked it with us. Him and his brother Chris. When we was young, they was like, I want to say a good 9, 10 years younger than me. Like young enough to be like we looking out for him, but old enough to be there with us. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, and I just thought it was dope. Like I actually one day was the way I even found out about the movie, Two Distant Strangers, was one of my homeboys hit me up one day, and now mind you, I knew that Nick Nick had a movie because he had been promoting it. And I follow him online, but I don't necessarily talk to everybody like all the time, every day. It's kind of like we family. Like we'll tap in whenever. The lines are always open, but I guess we be kind of doing stuff, and who knows, whatever. We live a life, but I do follow. I try to keep up with what's going on with everybody through social media, being online and stuff. So I'm seeing Nick post about you know a movie he's doing, um, the different phases of maybe getting funding and then moving on to this or different stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, that's dope. I'm like, that's dope. That's dope. So then one day, one of my homeboys, Mel Gates, who I'm also gonna have on the show real soon, uh, he's actually like kind of does this show with me. I guess like I mean I've been bouncing this idea off of him for a minute, like before I started doing the show. So, um, so yeah, like um, he hit me one day, and he's like, "Yo, it's this movie on Netflix, man. You gotta watch it." He like the shit's dope. He's like it's only 28 minutes. Like he was hype about it, you know what I mean, telling me to watch the movie and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, cool. He was like, it's about police brutality, blah blah blah. So I'm like, all right, bet. So so I'm not even later on that day or whatever, I go turn the movie on. I'm looking and I'm like, Two Distant Strangers. I'm like, yo, I think that's the movie Nick was talking about. So I watch it and I'm like, yo, this is dope. You know what I mean? So then, I find out, yeah, it is the movie or whatever. And I just thought that was dope that how it came, like I could see the effects of the movie, of the film itself, through people I know coming at me, just genuinely saying the movie's hot, you gotta watch it, you know what I mean, blah blah blah. So but yeah, I enjoyed the movie. If you haven't seen it yourself yet, go out and watch it. You know what I mean? It's dope. It's a really good movie. It's only like 28 minutes or 30 minutes, something like that. And but definitely probably one of the most enjoyable 28 minutes you'll spend outside of sex, drugs, and rock and roll or something. sex and drugs, sex and drugs or something. But nah, for real. Yeah, it's a dope movie. You need to go watch it. You know what I mean? If you haven't, tap in. And I think that was dope that he was able to kind of speak from a real perspective on how movies are done nowadays. You know what I mean? How people are getting films on Netflix. How do you go about getting the film in the Academy to win an Academy Award. You know what I mean? Like, these are all things that you know, seems sometimes like, you know, mystical or something to the average person, because, you know, they don't really teach us that in high school. You know what I mean? How to get an Academy Award, or how to shoot a film or something like that. But yeah, you know, it's dope. You know what I mean? You need to tap in. If you've seen it before, you know what I mean, watch it again. But if not, you know, however the case, if you still watching this podcast, I'm assuming you liked it. So, you know what I mean, hit the like button. You know what I mean, share it. Subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean, tell people about the podcast. I have a lot of different people coming on. Like Nick was saying, man, my family, I have a lot of people in my family that, you know, just do stuff. So, you know what I mean, I have had people in my family on. I have friends. It's not like I'm stretching to look for people or guests and stuff like that. It's kind of like, these are real conversations I have with people that I myself admire, really. And I think that they're dope, man. You should, if you haven't seen them, you need to go back, tap in, you know what I mean, watch them. They're in the Think New podcast playlist. And also, you know, tap into the music, man. Side Street Kid, I'm out here. You know what I mean? I got new music, old music. I got my the effing radio that streams on my YouTube channel. It plays like a lot of stuff from my catalog, features, affiliate artists, stuff like that on there. You know what I mean? Tap in. Plus, I just started integrating video in with it, where it's just basically like a lot of B-roll footage that I've collected over the years from, you know, traveling. I got stuff in there. Like when I was streaming yesterday, I saw, you know, somebody was in the chat asking like, where is this at? Where's that? I'm like, I'm not quite sure which one you was talking about, but it's a lot of stuff in there. I got stuff from Japan and Amsterdam and Germany and you know, just stuff, wild stuff I've seen that I've recorded, whatever, B-roll footage, behind the scenes stuff, videos. You know what I mean? It's a lot of cool stuff on there. Tap in. And also, if you're interested in the merch, you know what I mean, hit me up. You can DM me, send me a message, or drop a comment or whatever, and tap in with me. But basically, you know what I mean, hats and stuff, it's like $20. Just hit me on the Cash App. My Cash App should be right beneath me, right there. Side Street Music Group, cash sign. $20 plus shipping. But yeah, we got the hoodies. Tap in with Backbone for the 5 Deuce 4 Trey hoodies, but also we got the Elephant Pool hoodies. You know what I mean? 65 for the Elephant Pool hoodies. DM me for that. And also we got the Side Street Kid tank tops and armbands and stuff like that. So yeah, just let me know, you know, what you're looking for. I send them out. Yeah, man. And till the next one, tap in, you know what I mean? Once again, appreciate Nic Maye being on Think New today. And you know what I mean? Get with us.